Imagine you're sitting at your Mac, your hands are completely resting in your lap, totally off the keyboard.
It's completely hands-free.
Yeah, exactly. But on your screen, your mouse is moving on its own. It's, hunting
Yeah.
down bugs in Xcode, navigating over to Apple Music, and then it clicks play on the Hamilton soundtrack.
It's like a ghost has possessed your machine.
It really is. But then suddenly it goes totally rogue. It gets confused. And instead of pausing a timer you had running, it just resets the whole thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that is the slightly chaotic but incredibly fascinating frontier of AI computer use we're looking at right now.
And welcome to the Deep Dive Classroom. Deep Divers, I am so glad you're here with us today for this lesson.
It is a really wild time to be a knowledge worker, that's for sure.
It totally is. Today's mission is a full breakdown of the massive new update to the Codex app. And they've got over 3 million developer users right now.
Which is a huge user base to roll this out to.
Right. But here is the secret for our deep divers.
Oh.
Even if you don't know the first thing about coding, this lesson is going to unlock, entirely new ways to automate tools you use every day. Things like Gmail, Slack, Notion.
Yeah, because developers are basically the early beta testers for the rest of it.
Exactly. So before we really get into the weeds, I want you to grab a notebook or just mentally follow along and ponder this prompt. What is a one repetitive computer task you'd love to just hand off to an AI?
That's a great question to keep in mind, because to understand where Codex is going, we really have to look at this crazy new feature.
The fact that they're giving the AI the ability to actually take control of your cursor?
Yeah, they literally call it computer use. And it's a massive leap. Codex is going way beyond simple text generation now.
The AI gets its own virtual hand, right? To interact directly with macOS, though I think EU and UK rollouts are coming a bit later.
Right, yeah. But theory is great. What we really want to know is if this actually functions in the real world.
And that brings us to Paul Solt's live testing. His demos really expose how these models actually think.
Yeah, he wanted to test it on his own Mac App Store app, right? Super easy timer.
Yes, super easy timer. He had just updated it for Tahoe, the newest macOS. So it's a very simple interface.
You'd think simple interface means a really simple task for the AI, but
And no. So Paul tells the AI to use its faster model, the Spark model. His instructions are super clear. He says, set a 25-minute timer, wait 10 seconds, and hit pause.
And this is where it gets interesting, because instead of actually moving the mouse to click pause, the AI bypassed the cursor entirely.
It used hidden accessibility keyboard shortcuts, which is just, it completely ignored the mouse. Why would it do that when told to use the cursor?
Well, it comes down to the path of least resistance. AI models don't see a screen the way we do. To an AI, your screen is just this massive mathematical grid.
Right, it's looking at coordinates.
Exactly. But beneath the visual graphics of macOS, there's this accessibility tree. It's a text layer designed for screen readers.
Oh, right, for visually impaired users.
Yeah. And since the AI is essentially a super advanced text engine, reading that text layer is way easier than calculating the exact X and Y pixel coordinates to drag a physical mouse.
So it just saw a text backdoor and took it.
Pretty much. It's clever, but it completely failed the parameters of Paul's test.
Because he specifically wanted to test the cursor. So he corrects the AI, he forces it to ignore the backdoor and actually use the mouse.
And that's when it all fell apart. When it was forced to use the visual interface, the fast but erratic Spark model completely missed the pause button.
It just panicked, right?
Yeah, I got confused by the layout, and it ended up entirely resetting the timer instead of pausing it. It failed basic visual logic.
It sounds like we have a choice between, an overcaffeinated intern who works super fast but deletes your files, and a brilliant scholar who takes 5 minutes just to click a button.
That is the perfect analogy, because Paul actually switched over to that brilliant scholar, the GPT 5.4 model, right after that.
Yeah, the smarter model. And he gave it a totally different task. He asked it to play Hamilton on Apple Music.
I think he noted the dictation tool WhisperFlow completely failed there.
Oh,
right?
yeah, WhisperFlow totally dropped the ball.
Yeah.
But GPT 5.4 actually did it. But man, it took a full minute and 5 seconds.
Wow, over a minute for one song.
Yeah, it was agonizing to watch. It slowly dragged the cursor, searched for the music, and finally clicked play.
Well, that's the computational overhead of visual processing for you. GPT 5.4 is basically taking continuous screenshots of the desktop, mapping coordinates, verifying its position. It's doing complex geometry for every single click.
But wait, here's the best part. Once the music started, Paul manually interrupted it. He reached over and paused it himself.
Oh no. Let me guess, the AI got completely disoriented.
Totally. It didn't understand the human interference at all. It just started frantically trying to play it again.
See, that's a lack of dynamic adaptation. The AI had a rigid script in its head: find music, click play. When Paul intervened, it didn't have the awareness to say, oh, the user wants to pause.
So, I mean, is the speed of that Spark model even worth it if it can't execute basic visual logic?
That's the big question. You really have to match the model to the task. Use GPT 5.4 for complex workflows where you need precision, but, keep an eye on Spark for the future.
Deep divers, here's a thought experiment for you. Think about how much patience you actually have for automation. Would you rather wait a full minute for a task to be done perfectly, or just do it yourself in 10 seconds?
It's a tough trade-off, which is exactly why Codex's next move makes so much sense.
Right. Because while the AI taking over your mouse is a bit wild, Codex is actually bringing tools directly into its own workspace now.
Yeah, they want to stop you from bouncing around between different apps on your messy desktop, so they're building core tools right into the interface.
So the AI doesn't have to wander around your screen getting lost, like the built-in browser.
Exactly. Web developers usually need multiple windows open to test a UI, but now there's an integrated browser. You can go full screen or shrink it down for mobile view.
And there's that visual commenting feature, right?
Yeah, you just click an element in the browser and type a comment to suggest a quick tweak. And since it's inside Codex, the AI instantly knows which line of code you're talking about.
And let me guess, this is where that fast Spark model actually shines.
You nailed it. Spark is terrible at navigating a messy desktop, but in a tightly controlled environment like this built-in browser, it's perfect for quick visual tweaks.
But they didn't just stop at a browser. They brought in image generation, too.
Yeah, GPT Image 1.5 is now in line.
I saw that demo. Paul generated this incredibly realistic, juicy burger with fries directly into an image placeholder on his site.
It completely removes the friction. You don't have to open Midjourney or DALL-E, download an image, rename it, and drag it over. It's just a quick inline command now.
It's so fast. But what really blew my mind was the remote SSH feature rolling out in alpha.
Oh, this is huge for people who need serious processing power.
Yeah, SSH into another always-on Mac. It's basically an OpenClaw setup, right?
Exactly like an OpenClaw. You can delegate heavy UI testing to a completely separate box back at the office.
So your main lightweight laptop doesn't just bog down and give you the spinning beach ball of death.
Right, you manage the workflow locally, but the heavy lifting happens remotely.
But let me ask you this. If the goal is to keep us entirely in the Codex app instead of VS Code or the CLI or Chrome, does that limit our flexibility?
I mean, you are buying into their walled garden, sure.
Are we giving up our favorite tools just to save a few seconds of clicking? Does this genuinely speed up the process?
From a cognitive science standpoint, absolutely. Context switching is a massive productivity killer. Every time you switch windows, your brain has to reload a new visual environment.
So keeping your brain in that singular flow state is the real value here.
Exactly. Codex is trying to engineer that friction down to zero.
Well, deep divers, try this simple step today. Next time you're working, just track how many times you switch windows or tabs. You will be shocked.
It adds up fast. But an integrated workspace is great for coding. To truly become a daily assistant, though, it needs to talk to the non-coding apps we use.
And that brings us to the real magic for the rest of us. Automations, plugins, and this new teammate feature.
This is the biggest unlock for non-developers. They added over 90 new plugins connecting to MCP servers.
MCP servers, right. Can you explain that real quick?
Yeah, Model Context Protocol. It's basically a highly secure universal translator. It lets the AI securely read local data from your apps without uploading all your private company messages to the cloud.
Got it. And the variety of plugins is just wild.
Oh, it's crazy. There's GitHub integration, which can magically turn a list of open issues into a prioritized Excel spreadsheet.
Which is amazing.
There's Jira, there's Circle CI, there's even a Superpowers plugin, which is an OpenAI agent just for brainstorming.
Okay, but I have to bring this up. Watching Paul's video, I genuinely laughed out loud when he hovered over a plugin for SharePoint.
Yeah, that was a funny moment.
I mean, are we really still using SharePoint?
Yeah.
We have futuristic AI agents navigating Microsoft SharePoint.
Hey, enterprise documentation is a labyrinth. You definitely want an AI to navigate that for you.
Fair enough, fair enough. But beyond the plugins, the way it handles memory now is a game changer.
Right. Codex isn't just a chatbot that forgets you every time you close the window anymore.
Thank goodness. No more typing, please. format with bullet points every single morning.
Exactly. This new preview feature carries context forward. It remembers your personal preferences, your coding quirks, and your past corrections.
Which sets up this incredible heartbeat workflow with the new teammate feature.
This is my favorite part. You can schedule these heartbeats like a cron job. You tell the act to wake up every 30 minutes or every hour.
So while you're literally just drinking your morning coffee, the app quietly wakes up in the background.
Yep. It checks Slack, it scans Gmail, it looks at Google Calendar and Notion.
It's actively looking for fires to put out before you even sit down.
Exactly. Or it's summarizing comments in Google Docs that actually need your attention. It's incredible.
So here's a thought experiment for the classroom. If you had a digital teammate checking your inboxes every hour, what specific criteria would you give it to define an emergency?
That's the trap right there. If you don't define it clearly, it's just going to interrupt you for every single Slack meme.
Right, it has to be worth interrupting you for. We've covered a ton of ground today, from cursor control to integrated tools to autonomous heartbeats.
Yeah, let's distill this down to some simple insights. The first key takeaway is that AI is becoming an active agent.
Right, with computer use, it's not just giving instructions, it's physically trying to click the buttons.
Even if it's still a bit buggy, especially on the fast Spark model. The second takeaway is that consolidation is the ultimate goal.
Bringing the web browsers and GPT 1.5 inline image generation right into the editor.
Exactly. Codex wants to be your all-in-one workspace, and the third takeaway is that automations unlock time.
Those 90-plus plugins and heartbeat background checks.
Turning Codex into a project manager that scans your Slack while you sip your coffee.
And deep divers, the reason this matters, even if you aren't part of that 3 million developer user base, is that this is a live preview. Software development is the canary in the coal mine here.
It really is. This is exactly how all knowledge work is going to be automated in the near future.
It's a complete paradigm shift.
And it leaves us with one final, really provocative thought to mull over.
Let's hear it.
If Codex can remember your preferences across projects and read your Slack in the background and move your mouse, at what point does it stop feeling like a tool you use and start feeling like a colleague you manage?
Wow. From a tool to a colleague, that is a heavy shift. Well, deep divers, it is time to take this knowledge and practice it. Keep an eye on how you use your own workflow today. Pay attention to that friction.
And start thinking about what tasks you are ready to hand over.
If you enjoyed today's lesson, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe to the classroom.
We'd love to have you back.
Also, check out the affiliate marketing links below to support us. And don't forget to grab your official Fourth Wall merchandise.
The new shirts look great, by the way.
You really do. And please, drop a comment below and suggest what topic or tool we should dive into next. See you in the next lesson.